Welcome to True Reddit, revenge stories where lies, betrayal, and shocking payback come alive. These are real stories from Redditrial drama, real revenge and twists that will leave you speechless. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell, because you won't want to miss a single shocking story. I used to believe that love was the safest place a person could hide. I believed that once you found someone who called you there forever, the world could not touch you in the same way anymore. I believed that when a man kissed your forehead before work and whispered that you were his soulmate, that meant he would never be the reason you learned what fear truly feels like. I was wrong. My name is Elena Harper, and this is the story of how I survived a man who lived two lives under one roof, and how I discovered that sometimes the scariest monsters do not lurk in the dark. Sometimes they lie beside you in bed and ask how your day was. We lived in a small Pennsylvania town where nothing ever really happened. The kind of place where neighbors brought casseroles when someone was sick and waved at passing cars like it was tradition. It was quiet, predictable, safe, or at least that is what I told myself. Daniel fit into that town perfectly. He was calm, patient, soft-spoken in a way that made people lean in closer when he talked at church picnics. He grilled burgers for everyone and remembered their kids' names. He made me feel chosen. Every single morning before work, he would brush my hair back from my face and kiss my forehead like it was a ritual. "I don't know what I'd do without you," he would say. For 5 years, I built my world around that sentence. 5 years of shared holidays, shared bank accounts, shared grief when my mother passed away. 5 years of trying for a baby and crying quietly when the tests came back negative. Looking back, I wonder if he ever felt guilty holding me while I cried, or if he was already thinking about someone else. The night everything changed, there was a storm tearing through town. The kind that rattles windows and makes the trees scrape against the house like fingernails. Just after midnight, the power went out. The house dropped into darkness so complete that it felt suffocating. Daniel was upstairs in the shower, humming like he always did, completely relaxed. I remember feeling irritated at first. My phone to use as a flashlight and headed downstairs for candles. That is when I heard it. Daniel's usual ringtone. It was faint, but it was coming from somewhere below me. The basement. We rarely used the basement except for storage. Daniel always insisted on handling anything down there himself. Stood at the top of the stairs for a long moment, listening. The vibration came again. Longer this time, deliberate. My heart started beating faster. But I told myself it was nothing. Maybe something electrical reacting to the storm. Still, I found myself walking down those stairs slowly, each step creaking louder than usual. The air down there felt colder than the rest of the house, heavier, like I had stepped into a space that did not belong to me. The vibration stopped just as I reached the bottom. For a second, I thought I imagined it. The sound to a pile of old blankets shoved into the corner beneath them was a phone I had never seen before. Cheap, prepaid, disposable. The screen lit up with a new message as I picked it up. "Can't stop thinking about last night. She suspects nothing." I felt something inside my chest go still. Not racing, not pounding, just still, like my body was preparing for impact. I unlocked the phone. Password. That alone terrified me. It meant he never expected me to find it. The messages were explicit, intimate, casual, in a way that made it clear this was not new. Then I opened the photo gallery. There he was, in another apartment, on another couch holding another woman. She looked happy, radiant, pregnant. My vision blurred for a second, but I forced myself to focus on the date stamp. 3 years ago. 3 years. We were trying for a baby. While he held me at night and told me not to give up hope. I sank onto the basement floor, and stared at the screen. But the deeper I looked, the worse it became. There were videos not just of romance, but of arguments, of her crying, of him apologizing, and then suddenly, nothing. Her social media accounts were bookmarked in the browser. Her last post was from 2 months ago. After that, silence. That was when I realized this might not just be an affair. The next morning, Daniel made pancakes. He laughed about the storm. He kissed my cheek, searching his face for something unfamiliar. The same man I thought I knew. I smiled back. And that was the moment I decided not to confront him, not because I was afraid of losing him, but because I suddenly felt afraid of him. Over the next week, I went back into the basement whenever he was at work. I searched everything, behind the furnace, under the shelves, inside boxes. That is when I found the locked container it took me time to open. Inside were newspaper clippings about missing women from nearby counties, 3 of them, all in their late 20s or early 30s, all last seen with a new boyfriend. My hands trembled as I flipped through the articles. Tucked beneath them was jewelry, a bracelet, a necklace, items that looked like trophies. Stomach twisted so hard I thought I might throw up. Began watching Daniel differently. After that, every smile felt calculated. Every touch felt rehearsed. I installed small cameras in the house while he was gone. I copied data from the burner phone. I followed him once, just once, and saw him meet another woman at a cafe. She looked nervous. He looked patient, kind, exactly how he looked when we first met that night. I barely slept. I lay beside him, listening to his breathing, wondering how many women had trusted that sound before they disappeared. The pregnant woman's name was Rachel. I found her profile online. Her family was still posting about her, asking if anyone had information. I drove to her apartment building. The landlord said she moved out suddenly, left most of her belongings, baby clothes folded neatly in a drawer. That was the moment I stopped thinking about escape. If I left quietly, he would simply find someone else. I could not let that happen, so I created a fake profile. Lonely. Recently divorced. Financial trouble. Everything that would appeal to his savior. Complex. He messaged within hours. Watching him flirt with the version of me he thought was real while sitting across from me at dinner felt surreal. Like I was watching a stranger wear my husband's face. I arranged a meeting at an abandoned cabin near a lake 2 towns over. He told me he had a work trip that weekend. He kissed me goodbye, and for a split second, I wondered if he suspected anything. But he walked out the door calmly, confident. I followed him at a distance, my heart pounding so loudly I could barely hear the road. When he entered the cabin, I parked far enough away not to be seen. I waited 10 minutes. Then, I called the police and told them everything. The burner phone arrived faster than I expected, lights flashing silently as they surrounded the cabin. When they went inside, they found restraints in his bag. Sedatives. A knife. My name when they dragged him out. Confused. Angry. Betrayed. He kept shouting that I ruined everything. But everything was already ruined. That the search of our house uncovered more than I ever imagined. Beneath the basement floor, under a layer of freshly poured concrete, they found remains. 3 women, including Rachel. The entire town fell silent when the news broke. Reporters called him a monster, hiding in plain sight. At the trial, he tried to cry, tried to look broken, tried to say he loved me, but love does not bury bodies under your home. He was sentenced to life without parole. Months later, I heard he was attacked in prison by other inmates who learned what he had done. He survived, but he will live the rest of his life looking over his shoulder. Sometimes, people ask me if I feel victorious. The truth is, I feel older, He stole years from me, but he will never steal another life. And if there is one thing I learned, it is this: something is wrong. Because sometimes the person who calls you soulmate is hiding something darker than your worst nightmare. And in the end, no matter how careful they think they are, karma does not forget. It waits. And when it finally arrives, it does not knock politely. It tears the door off its hinges.
Subscribe so you don't miss the next story, because what's coming next is even deeper. And press the bell icon, so YouTube actually tells you when a new video drops, not hours later. Your support means more than you know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.